last video I actually want to be making right now, only because, as a lot of you know, I already rebuilt this bike, and I put about 1,500 miles on it. I was riding home one day, running the engine pretty hot. I was around town, wasn't really on the highway, but it was at operating temp. Operating temp is actually 185, but it can sit at 215 and be alright. I was around 213, 215 degrees. I went to get on the highway, got through first, got through second. Third gear comes around and I heard a knocking, which was quite similar to what I had heard before. So I confirmed this does have rod knock again. And I did replace the crankshaft. I did all the bearings. They were the proper size. I did everything to spec. There were a couple parts that I did reuse, although they shouldn't have really played a role in catastrophic failure. So I'm going to tear this thing apart. I'm going to take you guys with me this time, actually make a proper video since I didn't last time. So I guess I can resurrect myself there. It's going to be a little bit costly, but I love this bike. I will be selling it at the end of this video, so if anybody that's watching this build wants this bike, shoot me a DM. I'll make sure that I can get it to you. We can discuss a price later on once I get all the parts figured out. I'm already losing money on this bike regardless, so whatever it is, you'll get it for a deal. I won't put it at a stupid price, but for now, it's a matter of rebuilding it. I'm going to start by taking off all the fairings, putting them to the side, stripping it down to the motor, dropping it out, and we'll get the motor on a stand, separate the head, and take a look at the bottom end. I don't know what I'm going to find. I know there is a spun bearing. We're going to see if it's the same cylinder. I have the old crankshaft to compare. As I did before, I did new pistons, I did new connector rod bearings, I did new main channel bearings, new crankshaft. All these fairings are new, but I will be changing those up again. I'm going to do a full makeover on the bike, do everything just one step more this time to make it a brand new bike. But without you guys, please like, comment, subscribe, and it'll help me do this for you. Hopefully I can have more of these in the future. I will be rebuilding bikes and selling them at the end. Hopefully I can get to the point where I can do giveaways for you guys. I think that would be absolutely awesome. Just stay tuned, and I gotta get started on this thing. It's been sitting in the back of my mind for the past 4 weeks. It's been almost a month since it's been down. So without further ado, let's get to it. This will be the last time that I start the bike before I disconnect the battery and I start pulling everything off of it. So, without further ado, prime the fuel pump, let it rip. Oh, look at that. You can't hear it now, but once it warms up and you let it get going, you can definitely tell there's a spun bearing. I'll insert a clip of the old video, and it sounds exactly like that. So, let's keep going. Let's keep going. 18,052 miles. What a run. So the airbox stripped right here, so had to use some brute force to get this out. Unfortunately, I will have to replace that, but I already have the same piece. I just replaced it because it was already messed up, so no big deal. Disconnect a lot of these wires and cables and connectors so I can get it ready for being pulled. Disconnect the injectors here.
So at this point, I've disconnected just about every wire possible on the top end of the engine, so it's ready to drop. It's time to start removing components. Here's just a quick overview of what it looks like. I do have the intake valves tucked with a little rag just so nothing gets in there, but I'll catch you guys tomorrow when I go to begin the disassembly.
We're back. It is day 2 of getting the engine out of my R6. I went back to my parents' place, grabbed the jack stand, toolbox with all the tools that I will need, impact, gloves, containers to drain all the fluids into. Got my stands, gonna get this thing up on the stands really quick and get the exhaust off, drain the radiator and pull that as well. Organize all the screws into some bags, take out the bolts that hold the lag bolts that mount the engine into the frame, use the jack to drop the engine out, and we'll see how the oil is and we'll start tearing down the engine. So without further ado, let's get to it. Here we go. Got my boy with me. Now there's fans that gotta come off. Other two 10 mil that are held on, same on the other side. Although this part holds the expansion tank on the other side. Hose out of there. Chip, 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 chip. Been using this. I just drain it into here, and then if I have like a bucket or something, I can kind of pour it out through this handle. A little ghetto, but it works. Gonna replace the coolant at the end anyway. So, there you have it. And rinse, wash, and repeat on the other side. And you should be able to drain everything right from the bottom here. There will be residual in the radiator. If you want this to really start flowing, you just pull the radiator cap up here. Now I'm on the bottom left-hand side of the bike where you got the oil cooler, you have your stator cover, your oil filter behind the shift linkage. That is just a 10 mil holding that on. And I'm gonna go ahead and we'll see what happened. Oil's still clean, but look at all that metal in there. No, oh, that was a big piece. Oh no. Well, it's definitely a rod bearing. Gonna be a lot of cleaning and a lot of analyzing that will be done. There's going to be a lot of that. I'm gonna let this drain out. I guess I'll pull the filter now. I might screw it back on just to keep things clean, but damn, that stinks. Not literally, it just stinks that I have to do this. It's all part of the game. You gotta pay to play. Although, one thing I didn't realize, which is why I believe it spun this connector rod bearing, is I didn't realize that connector rods are one-time use. If you pull them out, they may be out of round. You never know, but it's the only thing I didn't replace. All the oil channels were clean, the whole engine was cleaned thoroughly, the bearings were matched up, plastic aged, everything. So all I can assume is the connector rods were out of round and it caused the bearing to spin. But we're gonna do this with some performance ones this time if I can get my hands on some for easy money. If not, then I'm gonna go back to OEM. Just gotta make sure that they match the number on the crankshaft. I did use a 2015 Yamaha R6 crankshaft. 2008 to 2016, they kept the same engine, but there were 3 or 4 different crankshafts that they used. On the end of it, there's a serial number, and you're supposed to use that to figure out the bearing size, which I did, plastic gauged it, they were right. But I think, or I've been told through many forums that the connector rods have to match the crankshaft. So I'm gonna figure out all that stuff, but for now it's just a matter of getting this thing out, and this is just part of the process. So I'm gonna get that 10 mil, get this shifter linkage off, and pull the filter, get the rest of the oil, and we should be good to go. Also, you need to use a wrench for this. I forgot, not a socket. It won't fit. It's happened at all, you know. It's nice that it's sunny out because you can see, but this is literally glitter. You can see even a metal chunk right there, but look at those flakes. There you have it. Cut this the other way. Radiator, so. Radiator. Wow, I'm gonna learn one of these days. I know once we get on this, I'm really planning. Bye-bye. All right, these are all the studs that came out, only 3 of them. The other ones stayed in, so there's 8 total. That means 5 studs are in there. Got all the nuts off. We're gonna go ahead, remove the big bolts on the exhaust, be able to drop the exhaust, and then it's just time to pull the engine. You think it's easy until you go and do it. I mean, I've only done this like 3 times already. Just kidding, only once. But once you do it and you take your time doing it the first time, it becomes a lot easier the next few times you do it. Hopefully this will be the last time, but this rebuild is going to be a lot different than the last one. I'm feeling very confident. Might even build the motor. Having all these ideas go through my head, but one step at a time. Can't forget to remove this sprocket cover here. So I'm gonna remove this, and then I'm gonna break the chain. This is a new chain, so I'll just be getting a new master linked. It's only got 1,500 miles on it. It's funny, master link is sitting right here. You can tell because of the rivets. All right, gonna bang on the money, but there is a valve on the OEM exhaust. Still, there you have it. One R6 exhaust off the bike. A little trick I learned to get the clutch cable disconnected here. So if you get a wrench, get it around there just the right size, you can actually push that down and it allows you to pull the clutch in, create slack on the cable, and pull that out. But there's a little tab that folds over under here. I just need a flathead. Let's get this off really quick. There you go. Just like I said, pop that out, and that clutch cable is disconnected. These are actually from a clutch cover. They use helicoils inside of this because of the expansion and contraction of the heat. And I'm sorry, the aluminum from all the heat in these bikes. So they use helicoils. When I put in the original bolts, It eventually got stripped out because I had to take this cover off a couple times to check timing, because this is the pickup rotor cover here, and the crankshaft is actually located right behind with all the timing marks. But anyway, when you take these bolts out enough times, it wears down on those helicoils. The helicoils I tried to put in wouldn't fit or wouldn't allow the old bolts to grab, but the clutch cover bolts from here, I ordered another set, actually fit in perfect. Same thread, and they're just a little bit longer so they can grab that extra thread inside the engine, and it doesn't cause any issues. Get your hammer, and there you go. She's out. Chain is off. All right, now you have the pleasure of watching me drop my engine onto the ground. Probably literally, but whatever. There's a 12 mil bolt here. I know it's torqued. What I'm going to do is remove the top bolts and then remove these bolts and let the engine like swing down, or no, I'm gonna remove the top bolts, leave the bottom, and then let it like lay down on its back here and then onto the piece. This is just helping with vibration and with the torque. But with these motor bolts, you have these little collars. They're like chamfered and go into this thing, kind of locks up and tightens up as you tighten it, and also clears the space like a washer. So this is holding the engine up, so I'm not going to back it completely up, but I'm going to do the same thing to the other side.